Hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Talking Into the Void. Uh, it's a night. What's up, Clown? What's up, Badger? It has been cold outside for most people. They can't hear you, Tier. But with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Now they can hear you.
Hello, and Yo Green, Yo Clown, what up?
Got some feedback from someone, but joining us as well is
It's
Angela.
probably me.
How you doing, Angela?
I am okay. How are you?
And not too terrible. And joining us
Hey,
as well
brother.
is Will at Forge. Will, how you doing?
I'm getting by, and yourself is good too. So,
Mm.
hi, howdy, everybody.
Yep. So apparently, there's been some more coming out about the shooting that happened with the ICE
Mm-hmm.
officer, and I still haven't seen anything of like the actual audio. Apparently, from what one guy was saying, ICE doesn't actually wear body cams. I thought they did, but as I've said before and many other times, I've been wrong in the past, and I will be most likely wrong in the future.
That's not true. Cause I still wear body cam because the Renee Good incident.
I thought that
We
was
got
his
the body
cell
cam.
phone.
Cell phone video tier.
It was cell phone video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I take it back then.
He still could have. I don't know.
They said specifically that he busted out a
Yeah.
phone and started recording.
Yeah. On that one, I knew that one was cell phone footage, but I thought they might actually wear body cams. It'd make more sense.
I wish they did.
Hello.
And did we get joined by Mitch Lee?
Hey,
Oh God, no.
And
it's
we're
a
joined
Mitch
by
Lee.
Mitch Nemo. And Mitch, we just got into the whole thing of saying there's been a little more information that comes out that they've been saying that he was disarmed prior to that whole thing. You depend on which angle of the video you see. I was going to get into. You can see him shove a ICE agent.
They
I don't see it.
disarmed a second or two before.
Yes, I
but
wanted to
there's-
get. I wanted to get in that because I can only think of one of three potential things, and all of them make it tragic, and not tragic Gardner, but just a tragic incident.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Oh.
One is the ICE agent was a fucking retard and had his finger on a trigger of the suspect's gun, and it went off because he wasn't paying fucking attention. Two, oh dear Christ, no, we actually have a live ND that caused someone's death.
A live what?
Negligent discharge from the firearm. It shot.
Okay.
It actually legitimately fired on its own because of the mechanical issues and manufacturing
With that
issues I
particular
brought
make and
up
model.
because of bad QA.
It was a SIG P320.
Yes, for the SIG P320, or there was an outside agitator that fired a shot. That one's my conspiracy theory out in left field. Make sure to throw that tinfoil hat time up real quick.
Yeah. Look, I'm just going to say it. This is my theory, or what I think it is. Until we get more evidence, I'm going to say, in the midst of the struggle in the melee, he assumed he still had the weapon because he was still struggling, and he fired. You still fucked up.
Say the thing with all of that, and I've been looking into it more. You have multiple officers there, and I'll call them officers. They're law enforcement agents. The same rules apply.
Mhm.
And the determination by any of them to shoot is based off of its validity or not is based off the totality of the circumstances up to that point, as well as what's happening in that moment, what that person knows, which can be informed by what other officers tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's already semi-riotous circumstance. It's high energy, lots of noise, lots of chaos in the struggle with this guy. And then you have all of the provocateurs blowing whistles and honking horns and stuff. You can't hear much of anything in there.
Yeah.
So just about anything that was said or called out could have been misunderstood.
Yeah, that's one of the things
Yes.
Sean, Actual Justice Warrior, did bring up. That's been super annoying to a lot of people. And I'm also going to say that a lot of people that are quote unquote being, I guess like not ICE watch or something, but like they're trying to, help the illegal immigrants. Y'all some fucking racists to always think they're black and brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but
seriously.
I love-
you gotta remember something, Rodney. These people are far more racist than they believe. Like they are
Professional
the white
racists.
saviors. Yeah, no, we're professional
Well,
racists.
they here's the thing. They fully understand and acknowledge that they are and would be racist. Because if you're dealing with the whites, white liberals all say that all whites are racist no matter what. You can't be not racist. Even if you're being actively anti-racist, you are still being racist in their book.
Yeah.
So they have admitted that they themselves are racist and they know it. They're not always racist the way that they think they are. Most of the times they're worse.
Mm-hmm.
Just projecting their own guilt on everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And then for the blacks among them, there's not very many because, let's face it, these are all mostly middle-aged white Karens. But any of those understand that their opinion, their treatment, their behavior of it would be considered racist in their own books if they were white.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, where things come back is essentially, from what I have seen so far, and this is still very, very preliminary, there is still a lot that could come out, but it's leans 2/3 in favor of tragic but justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
At which point I can't, I'm to the, yeah, it shouldn't have happened. Absolutely should not have happened. But it didn't happen specifically because the ICE agents broke the law or did the wrong thing. A lot of things came together in a perfect storm of bad, including multiple insanely stupid decisions and choices by the guy himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in the group of morons that are, basically trying to flip the script on the 2A. I never thought I would see the Brady campaign and David Hogg promoting 2A things, even if only out of their hypocrisy to try and score points against their enemies.
Yeah.
But you
It just
people
further
that are
demonstrates
normally
what they are.
Yeah, you have people that are normally staunchly advocating pro 2A stuff, and they're just basically tossing that out the window because of who this guy and what this is and what he did. And I'm like, no, he had every right to carry a gun to the protest. He had every right to carry that gun with extra ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Where it becomes a problem is when he decided to step in and start breaking the law. And from there, decided to fight and resist the officers trying to detain and arrest him.
I don't know.
And
I'll tell you why I said that, but finish your point first.
say because until he went in
What's up, K-Shaw?
and
No,
got
Coach,
physical
Okay, so
himself with the agent, he was not doing anything that him having a gun would be any issue. It's
Hi, Keisha.
we
Sorry.
got to get away from this notion that the mere presence of the firearm is the issue. It isn't. The issue is, what are you doing when you carry it? Are you obeying the law and everything like that? Perfectly fine. Are you breaking the law? Are you going out there and using it for unjustified threats, whatever else, then not fine. The mere presence of it being there isn't the issue. It's what you do.
We have other questions to ask too, that no one seems to be asking, by the way. Everyone's
I'm
talking
always
about the law, but is the law the final arbiter of right and wrong? Has it
Yeah.
ever been?
In this situation.
No, in any situation. Don't forget that laws are what allow government tyrannies to exist.
And the law also allows a society to function.
Yes, it does. But it's
The
not as much law as it is a commonality of purpose.
I
They try to mix the two. And for obvious reasons, they try to mix the two. But it doesn't always work that way. If you read the Bill of Rights, just those 10, not any of the bullshit that follows, but the first 10 amendments to
Mhm.
the Constitution. Read the Bill of Rights. That also serves as a moral and ethical framework.
well, the Bill of Rights presupposes a pre-existing moral and ethical framework that it's trying to reflect.
Yes, it does. But it serves that too. It's when they get in and they start noodling around and nitpicking a bunch of other shit to make for example, I'll give you a great example. The Supreme Court has ruled that in order for your rights to be valid, you have to specifically express them. If that's the case, we don't have rights at all.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Supreme Court is wrong. If police
definitely.
can do with you what they will, if you don't specifically exercise your rights, then we don't have rights. It's that simple.
When it should be an assumption, it should be an absolute assumption that you are invoking your rights unless and until you deliberately
Stated otherwise.
Right. It should be the opposite.
say that's one thing. Everything should be on a one-way ratchet to liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
when it comes to
It used to be the-
rights, it shouldn't be that I have to invoke it or I lose it. It should be the right's there unless I waive it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly. I was
And
going to
again,
say,
that
who said that?
Go on, Angela.
Who said that the Supreme Court has the right to take away our rights or to say that we don't have them in the first place?
Well, they really don't, because that would
So,
our government is failing at being a government.
yeah, I'll
And
agree there.
I say that in as far as the framework of the U.S. Constitution. Congress
Yes.
is delegating its authority to other fucking weird ass agencies for some reason.
It's expedient.
The
It
courts
is.
illegitimately and quite obviously wrongly give too much they place too much value on what members of the state have to say versus what the people have to say. The state, as a result, always takes care of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You know,
for the issue,
it's similar to my
Good.
old argument, real quick. It's similar to my old argument about how can we have a fair trial when the public defender is an agent of the state. Go on, Tier.
well, 2 points for your fair trial. You can hire a private lawyer. You don't
Not if
have
you can't
to
afford
have
to.
a public defender.
Where's all this money coming from, Tier? Our failed economy?
If you have the means to hire a lawyer, you can hire a
If
lawyer to
you
defend
have-
You have
Yeah.
the means.
If you have the means, you have the right to a fair trial. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that.
I think
I'm
it is.
saying,
That is like what you just said means, Tier.
no,
Sorry,
but
Tier.
they're all right. Look, honestly, even if they
Yeah.
are agents of the state, they are still they're ethically bound to represent you. But I was going to make the point that for the legislature, they have granted 3-letter agencies and whatnot to make rulings and laws, which they shouldn't have because of expediency. It is easier for the delegation. They shouldn't delegate their powers.
I wouldn't even say that
The
it's
only person making laws should be the legislature. It should be
that would require them
to do their fucking job.
Well, I was gonna say I
No,
wouldn't even say it require that it's so for expediency. It's so basically if things go awry, they can shift the blame onto someone else and have to take none of it.
Yeah,
I
don't
literally
think
was just about to say it's never mind.
No, it's we're
Never
on the
mind.
same page,
Well,
Angela. That's what we're saying. Or I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think it's a combination of the two. Then
You started
Their
talking, so I was
point is-
holding.
Angela,
no,
go ahead.
the reason, okay,
Brief.
they don't put aside their decision making to someone else because they don't want to do their jobs. They put aside their the work they're supposed to do, the decisions they're supposed to make, so they don't have to take responsibility for their decisions and choices that they make.
again,
It's
still
not about wanting somebody else to. Well, it is about wanting somebody else to do their job, but not because how you're making it sound they are lazy. It's because they're irresponsible and don't want to put their big kid pants on and risk making people mad at them.
I say it's a combination of the two. That's the case because it is a laziness.
I think there is a little bit of laziness in it, but I'm on Angela's page there. I think the majority of it is just we don't want to be held accountable. So we will make some broad strokes and talk big, and then make these other groups who also can't be held accountable the same way that we can, because they're not up for election every 2 or 6 years. We'll have them writing the rules for us in the background, because then we can't be held accountable for it. We can't piss off the voters with it.
Right. It's a circle jerk. The legislature delegates the authority to an agency, and then the legislature gets to say, hey, we didn't do that. They did.
Mhm.
But then the agency in question gets to go, hey, we're not legislators. They are. And it'll go back and forth, and nothing will improve. That's part of the plan.
See,
Is
and
to
the
let
thing is,
nothing improve.
I've got no problem with various agencies enforcing the law in the abstract, because the enforcement of the law is one of the primary duties of the executive branch.
Yes.
But as I said
through multiple agencies.
last night, it needs to be not them writing rules, but saying, this is the law as laid down to us by Congress. This is what we're enforcing. If it's not there, we aren't and can't.
Not only that, but it also has to pass constitutional muster.
Yeah.
If you're a cop and you see a law on the books that is an obvious violation of, say, the First Amendment, and you go in and enforce that law, you are now guilty. It's that simple. The cop should also have the authority to say, no, that's unconstitutional. I'm not enforcing that law.
Not only should they have the Constitution
Well,
or the gumption.
They do have the authority
do.
to, because
should have
their oath
Yeah.
is to the Constitution.
and there are still laws in the books that they don't enforce. Like I haven't heard anybody arrested for baking a pie sitting on a windowsill on a Thursday. Like it's still a law in the books.
It was so tragic.
That is the type of
Tragic.
law that is not in the Constitution in its original format here.
Right.
I don't think we're on
But
tinfoil hat
it's
time
still
anymore.
laws that they don't. No one is enforcing that law. The law might as well be dead for all intents and purposes because no one enforces it. like jaywalking on a Friday with fucking sandals. Fucking
I'll
no.
give you an even better example is telling an officer you're interacting with that you're armed. That's an infringement.
I agree.
Yeah, I
That's
talked
a
about that
violation of the Second Amendment. Being required
last night,
by law to tell a cop that you're armed is an infringement on the Second Amendment.
and the fourth, because
Yes.
the cop is going to treat you as if you're doing something wrong by being armed 7 out of 10 times.
But getting
And
back,
it's a
we
say it's a
should get back
violation
to-
of the first and fourth because you're getting into forced disclosure, forced
right.
speech.
But we should get back to this ICE thing.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, so
We don't ask enough
Obviously-
questions.
obviously to get to you as far as the law is not the final arbiter of right or wrong. It is a set of rules laid down usually by a bunch of idiots that can't bother to work together for the common good. But it falls into two categories. You get the Malum and say, evil in and of itself.
Mhm.
We all know murder is wrong.
Oh, yes.
Malum and say, it is evil in and of itself.
Okay.
And that's your things like murder, robbery, rape, that stuff. And then you've got the category that the politicians love to get into and treat it like it's malum in se, and that's malum prohibictum. It is evil because we say so.
Yeah.
But they try to treat it like it is a moral evil in and of itself.
Right.
Okay.
Now the thing is that you do have to we have deferred some authority to the government, which includes some authority to determine laws that are malum prohibictum. But they are still supposed to fall within the framework of the Constitution, both in reflection of the citizens' rights and the constitutional framework as far as the roles and authority of government. One of
Okay.
the roles and authority of federal government is to establish and enforce immigration laws and protect our borders, because one of the sole core functions of the federal government is to protect the country and the citizens from foreign invaders.
Agreed. I mean, why do you think
Sorry,
I'm not
Cigar.
shedding tears over this asshole that got shot yesterday?
So when you come to that, but as we're dealing with malum prohibictum and everything, now one could say that invading another country is to a certain extent evil in and of itself. Potentially, I can see
Mhm.
Especially
arguments
when it's
both ways.
unnecessary.
But since we have said this is a category of laws that is within the just purview of the federal government and the enforcement is there, you have to start saying there are going to be certain things that are themselves wrong in your handling and approach to law enforcement, enforcing the laws. Now, I'm not going to be adamant on where this falls in either side, but at some point you've got to say that if you are violently resisting enforcement of a law that is not inherently unjust, it is not itself malum in se, and it is not a law that falls outside the purview and the role and the scope of government, that because we have actually expressly granted this specific authority to the government with intent, the passage of such laws inside these specific scopes does itself have a certain amount of moral authority to determine right and wrong. And if we disagree with the application or the specifics of those laws, we need to follow the legal process to change it.
The legal process to change it is largely limited to electing somebody and then hoping they can.
Largely, although there is the full scope of the First Amendment there too.
There is.
The more
Absolutely.
the more people that are making it an issue, the more likely you are to get some kind of traction in that.
Yes.
So if you are gathering together, peacefully assembling, redressing your government for grievances, speaking out even crudely, forcefully, and harshly to your government representatives and law enforcement about it, but stopping at protected speech and protest and not getting into violent actions. Because the problem is when you get into violent actions, you're towing a line that runs into even if you're morally right in a given situation, even if you're legally right, you're guaranteeing yourself a loss. And you win these things, you win these things in court, you win these things at the ballot box, you win these things at the soapbox.
We don't win in court.
You don't.
You don't win them in the streets.
You can. Where you don't win is you don't win fighting law enforcement physically.
You don't
especially
win
one
around
on
blowing
six.
fucking whistles like a bunch of children. No, I agree with that. I absolutely agree. Like I said, I'm not shedding over any tears over this guy being killed.
And the thing
Not
is,
at all.
all those white Karens,
You don't count.
if the thing is, if they are that outraged about it, if they are that convinced that the law is bad and the enforcement of it is bad, they could make a whole lot more traction by actually being peaceful observers and protesters, recording and not trying to obstruct, not trying to protect people. The majority of, well, technically all of which, by the very nature of the fact of the target for enforcement of this law, are criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So they are actively trying to protect criminals from law enforcement.
I mean, they tried similar shit.
That doesn't mean we can't hold a law enforcement accountable.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, I'm all for holding law enforcement accountable. We've had that conversation before.
I'm saying that more for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what we're confronting here is a case of two things being true at the same time. That's really what we're confronting here. But everyone seems to want to take a side.
Yeah, because they refuse to divorce.
Yeah, I'm taking a side too. My side is the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, because what you're doing is that big thing that I brought up last night from James Reeves, to where you're divorcing yourself from the politics and just looking at the facts.
Yes.
Which are exponentially different from what a lot of other people are doing. And that's the major problem, is too many of them want to immediately go into team politics or team sports.
Yeah, and I don't give a damn about this idiot's politics. I care about what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, exactly. For example, Rotten, in the video you threw my way, a lot of people are saying, see, he shoved the ICE agent. And I don't see a shove. I see an unwanted contact, but it's not a shove.
Yeah, and they
There's
shouldn't
a
be trying.
distinct difference between the two. One carries a lot more. One
Weight.
word carries a lot more baggage than the other words.
And there's an
One is an
exponential.
aggressive
Much
action.
more loaded word than unwanted contact.
Yeah, there's also an exponential difference between like a shove, which most people are going to think of being a forceful push, to a gentle push.
Right.
Still, in
I
the
mean-
situation, he made contact he wasn't supposed to make because
He made an aggressive gesture.
that wasn't his place to do that.
No.
He still made an unwelcome and unlawful contact, and
And
that's
honestly, we don't have enough focus from the videos I've seen.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear. What I'm saying is based on the videos I've seen
Yes.
and that I've been able to find.
Hmm.
We don't have enough focus on the situation prior to this escalation. We see things going on around it,
Yeah, I've
but
seen.
we don't
oh,
see
God,
these particular subjects center screen
I will
focus of the thing until
Yeah.
they become the focus of the thing, if you understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
the closest I've seen of it is probably about a max of 30 seconds before that, and I have no idea where it's at because I don't think I liked any of the videos or whatnot of where
I
it
think
shows
what I
that
see is
the cops they're going to get in their truck, and the first person that they pushed, not the guy who put the hands on him, were in the street and had already been honked at by like other people in their vehicles to basically get the fuck out of the street because they're there chastising, trying to impede and whatnot.
the agents were physically removing people from the street.
Yes. And then it has the whole
And
thing
as
where
far as I'm concerned, when you're dealing with a crowd like that, you're setting the stage for something
yes.
when you make physical contact. But at the same time, when you need to get people out of the street and they won't go voluntarily,
You gotta
And
move
the-
them.
any other
What else
options
do you
realistically
have to do?
say that, and the actual local and state government agents who are responsible for handling such things absolutely refuse to.
Yeah.
But remember, the Supreme Court also ruled that police have no duty to serve you, or no duty to.
Right.
What's that expression?
They-
Will?
Have no obligation to protect you, with very
Yes.
few exceptions.
Mhm.
Right.
If you are in custody, they have taken your liberty for you to be able to protect yourself or
yourself.
take actions to avoid harm. So they have taken on the responsibility to protect you because they took your ability to protect yourself away.
Right. But otherwise, the Supreme Court has ruled that law enforcement has no duty to protect.
Yes, but in that
Yeah.
situation, it wouldn't be protect. It would be them impeding the federal investigation and the whatnot, to where they have the right to be like, no, you need to back the fuck up because you're not following the law.
Yeah.
That's big if, the police were to, local county PD were to actually help them. I don't expect state PD to be a part of that. That's gonna be more your local county type thing. And I think since it's Minneapolis, you're gonna look at it being a local city PD.
Yeah, which
Really?
has already made it very clear that they're not going to do anything enforcement wise if it might have in any way be a benefit
Well,
to the enforcement of federal
I'm
laws.
only clarifying the different police departments because not everyone may understand that just because you're
Yeah.
in parts of the city, it's not actually the jurisdiction of the city police department. Like, I live in Holland, Michigan. I don't live in the part of Holland, Michigan to where if I had to call the police on something that I would call the Holland Police Department. I would call the Ottawa County Police Department. Like when my
But that's a
moped got,
jurisdictional limit.
yes, that's just to make that explanation of like, well, why wasn't
Right. You're
local
within
PD there?
the county jurisdiction, not the city.
Yeah,
I mean, and
All right.
but that's
There's
just a
a-
little side tangent thing. Sorry.
The local police and the county police in Minneapolis are, by not preventing by not preventing these interferences, they're making the situation much more dangerous.
Yes,
for
they're
everyone.
trying to make it
Yeah.
exponentially more of a powder keg. And then we
There-
have
but there-
dumbasses online legitimately calling for violence.
Yeah, the thing is, you have the city, county, state, whatever jurisdiction each case, they're answerable to local and state government executives who are telling them specifically not to enforce
Interfere.
those laws. They're telling it basically, yeah, if it can help the enforcement of federal laws, you're not going to enforce a state or local law. And did you see that Walz has brought in the National Guard now?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about
he activated the Minnesota National Guard to basically give coffee and donuts and hot chocolate to the protesters and help them out.
Oh,
So
that's
he's
not gonna
aiding
turn
and
out well
abetting
for
an
him.
insurrection. Got it.
Now, here's the thing that I just he's done a real dumb here, because I see like a absolutely massive opportunity for trolling here.
Do I need to go back to conspiracy theory time?
Yes.
This actually, well, you can, but this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just a simple statement of fact, is he has activated them, which is something that Trump hasn't done. But with the situation in hand,
Trump's a coward.
it's entirely within the president's authority to activate and nationalize the state National Guard, in this case, to help, which now that Tim Walz has called them in, if Trump exerted his authority here, they would cease being answerable to Tim Walz and become answerable to Trump.
Yeah.
But I'm going to use a term from the left. Taco. Trump always chickens out. He
I
will
am
not-
concerned.
He
Say,
will
I'm
not
con-
do that.
I'm concerned that he would. On the other hand, if he recognizes the opportunity for trolling,
I couldn't remember the
Because-
as soon as you said taco, I immediately went to the Lego movie where it's tentacle arm, craggle something. The S
The
the S is
hell?
silent. I watched the Lego movie last week. I love that movie. I don't care
The
what anyone
Lego
says.
movie's super
Sorry.
cute.
Sorry.
it's a
I
fun
got sidetracked.
It's
But-
cute.
movie.
He's
Say,
too-
even if you
he's-
get into like the potential for chickening out, if he recognizes the trolling opportunity there, he might just do it.
Keyword in
he-
that sense.
Conspiracy theory.
he is too focused on building a new moon base on Greenland. So
Mhm.
Ain't Moonbase on
yeah, he's
Greenland?
we're gonna have a moon base on Greenland.
I think he's too busy sucking off Cash Patel and Pam Bondi.
That's two idiots that need
Those
to
two
get
should have
out.
been fired a long fucking time ago.
Yep.
Yes.
But again, he's got no balls. He's a dickless president.
It's a mixture
What
of
happened to
that,
the
and
guy
I
we
think
had in
he's
the first
getting
term?
he's just getting bad advice from those around him.
No, that's bullshit.
I said-
I won't accept that excuse because
no,
the
no.
buck stops at the
No,
president.
no, I'm saying it's a combination of the two,
It probably is.
which is still puts him at fault.
Hmm.
He's got to pull his head out of his ass or Bondi's ass or somebody's ass.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But here's my conspiracy theory. Now, if you were part of a tyrannical organization, let's say, for instance, a government, and you had access to two opposing forces, wouldn't you use those two opposing forces against each other in order to extend and expand your control over the general population?
Um,
Well,
you were a
that
tyrant.
and to
No.
y-
distract from the fact that you're being a tyrant.
Well, yeah, distract from, I don't know, covering up for a boatload of child rapists, or helping to cover up a shitload of fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, see, I can't help but remember that Emperor Palpatine in the Star Wars prequel trilogy not only controlled the Republic army of clones, but also, under the guise of Darth Sidious, controlled the Confederacy of Independent Systems.
Because he used that one first so he could get control of the clone army.
Yeah. So he had, and, hey, I'm just saying that life and art tend to imitate each other. Don't be
Say-
surprised.
That, and he had plans within plans and counter plans in case one thing went right and another thing went wrong.
Yes.
I'm
So seems
I
like
mean,
the
I
clone
wouldn't
army
take
was
down the
about
Jedi
the third
as much as
fallback
anything.
plan.
But still,
Travis, what did you try to say?
the only flaw I can see in Mitch Nemo's conspiracy was I think you're giving. I'm assuming you're implying Trump here,
No.
or
I'm
somebody.
I'm not
You're
implying Trump.
you're implying whoever.
Let's
The
say
government
deep state to
establishment.
make it easy.
I was going to say he's talking about the government as an entire umbrella
The lizard
Yes.
people.
situation.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
lizard people.
I think I think it really requires way too much competence.
It might. But I did say at the outset it's a conspiracy theory, didn't I?
Yes.
I mean, it is a little head time.
What Mitch just said in a really roundabout way is the same thing that I always say, which is you turn around, you take two forces, you call them, say, the Republicans and the Democrats, and you have them gather up all of the people into their separate groups by saying that they believe certain things, and have them turn around and fighting with each other, so that they're not really paying attention to what the people who organized those two groups are over here actually doing.
Yeah, basically it's controlling the news cycle.
It-
Control the
it-
media, control the mind.
well,
And it is
it's a
actually what the United States
misdirect.
is. It's exactly what the United States is doing.
It's
I mean,
And
It's-
the
it's
people
called
are
mis-
just eating it up.
It's
I know
called a
it's
mis-
called a misdirect here. We've heard you the last 3 times.
ouch.
Sorry.
And it's
I'm
also
sorry,
it's also
I'm-
something the mainstream media does whenever something isn't going the way they want it to, they'll focus on something else while ignoring a bigger story.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Or
sorry,
they'll
man.
contrive something.
Lit a fire under my ass. I did not mean to bite your head off.
I honestly
Oh, he
think
needs his head bitten off now and then.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You'll be fine. You
I
can always,
honestly
Tell him,
wonder.
you can always place it back later.
What
Fair
tragic?
enough.
I honestly want to know what bank the Somali loans have been funneled through.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I
no
will be
kidding.
back in just a moment.
Rutten's gonna go find out for us.
No, I gotta go use the restroom again.
Taking a whiff, but when, yeah,
Because
Using the old toilet bank.
Really
because quite honestly,
they,
in
sent
between,
they sent Rotten some stuff in the mail. He's gonna go check.
because quite honestly, at a certain point, you got to look at the different levels of. You get $1 billion of fraud there, and everybody's like talking about government kickbacks and everything else. When you get into that much money, you're getting into something that's more powerful than government.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, just be careful because banks have killed as many people as governments. Well, at least if you leave out the communists.
Does that mean we should form our own think tank and then apply for every government grant on the books?
No.
That would be one way to stop having to work for a living.
Well, quite honestly, that might require thinking. We may just do a child leering center.
Yeah, we should start our own living center.
Oh, yeah.
Might as well make an
done,
adult
Travis.
learning
Call it the
center as
proper
well while you're at it.
Also, Green Badger, well done to you as well.
Yeah, he had that up a while
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
The something aid and comfort to something before Star Wars was ever brought up.
Yes.
And already my video
Which means
for
I gotta watch
Tuesday
the
is
chat
already
now, doesn't it?
already
Green Badger.
uploaded. Well, my chat
I'm
moves
sorry,
pretty slow. But like, no, he had foresight of it, kind of like I had it. What you were thinking today, or it's like with the one thing that you can't remember what it was, and then
Hey, clown.
yesterday for Will with heard it from a friend. I will say the thing I always love about situations like this, not the whole thing, but like the discussion of it, is because then if I do have something I need to take care of in the background, like I can have you guys go off where I'm kind of listening a little bit and I can pipe in when need be, but I can just let y'all
Roll
go
your
off.
eyes, shake your head, go about your business.
Well, yeah, I was finishing up doing I made the thumbnail for Tuesday's video, did the rendering of it and everything. So it's uploaded and scheduled.
Just imagine, we have all this attention focused on Minneapolis. What
Uh-huh.
if something popped off there, and a genuine shooting conflict began? Then you could have this whole government at the federal level even start imposing all kinds of restrictions on movement and on purchases and blah blah blah. Look how well it worked with the COVID.
I don't think it'll.
You think if you think that's beyond the pale, then you got to realize there are people smarter than me working in our government.
They're all
And this
exponentially
is
dumber.
just stuff that occurs to me on occasion.
Say on the tinfoil hat scale, that's not enough to wrap a finger.
And the question is, are they in the proper areas to be able to do that?
Well, we don't hear about any. We know that all those IRS and postal agents didn't get fired.
They didn't.
Yeah, no way we can be that lucky.
All they have to do is say, "Okay, everyone, you now get to work under this authority by executive order."
I think the only thing that's going to make it harder for the post office is the fact they do have a union, which they shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree.
When we were on a certain, in a similar subject, remember there was a big push to eliminate DEI programs in colleges in certain areas. Oklahoma decided to do that. They came out and said, we will not have a DEI office in any state college. So
What they do, rename it?
Well, that's what happened. The offices got defund. The offices did not. Sorry, they did not get defunded. The funding was still there. They were just told that you could not use DEI
branding.
You
branding or language.
You couldn't use that. You couldn't use the language.
Yeah,
You have to basically, if you want your funding to continue, you got to change the name of this shit.
So,
But we
but
still intend to fund you.
But that wasn't. That was when that executive order came down from the governor. That wasn't his intention, was to rename everything. This was interpretation.
Yeah.
Of it. And I'm getting this from. I have a source, Robin.
I tried. That's lack of oversight, not necessarily or mismanagement. And if it does exist, y'all could probably do something about that.
I
Well, if
have
you
a
let 'em
source.
finish.
I have a source that tells that explained it. They have what they call a de-buzz wording of the language, is what she called it. And what it was is they went through, they basically pulled the signs and they pulled everything out the people in that office were not fired; they were reassigned to different to a different office.
Reassigned to
The
different titles.
the manuals were removed. The manuals that were used to train them were removed, debuzzworded, which now a great term.
Find and
And
replace.
they were put back in, everything was put back into place with similar programs for diversity, inclusion, and everything else. And you know what group was left out of the whole reorganization? They removed all of the DEI programs that were there to help veterans in the schools.
Oh,
Of course.
Really?
shocker.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, because
And I have
because the ones that aren't veterans or are veterans but are of those things can actually still benefit from those DEI initiatives. It just makes the
And-
white man can't. The white man veteran can't, or white woman veteran plausibly.
and I turned I sent all of my text that I got from my source that works at OU. And I sent them to my my state representative. And nothing has happened.
Shocker.
I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Well, not quite
Yeah.
that shocked.
But here's the thing is that it's not that secret, and my source was actually overjoyed in telling me explaining to me how thoroughly they subverted the government rule.
Oh yeah. And it's not hard to do because the government inspector, if there ever is one, is only going to go through and look for buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And since the
Oklahoma
buzzwords have been removed, oh, everything's fine here.
has something called LOFT, the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. And the problem is that they have been extremely busy. So they probably haven't got there yet. But they have eliminated at least $50 million in fraud.
That's a good
But-
start.
Good, at least.
It cost us $1 million a year to fund that office, and it saved us $50 million.
Oh, okay.
It paid itself off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good investment.
Well, I mean, if it's doing what
And-
it's supposed to do, it's
Yes,
like
it is.
what activists are actually supposed to do, and that's trying to put themselves out of a job.
Well, it's part of it. Part of it is a government organization, but the actual auditing is done by a private auditing group, and they have the legal.
So it's
ability-
basically Doge for your state.
It is. But they have the legal ability to go into any government office at random.
Cool.
My absolute favorite one, just a side story on that one. My absolute favorite story about that was the state parks were going to get brand new restaurants put in each one of the state parks. And they were going to be ran by a company called Swadley's Barbecue.
Okay.
Okay. They were going to be
I think we're out of tinfoil that time.
Oklahoma. It'd be Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma's home cooking restaurants. And for one of them, they bought a $20,000 smoker used.
What?
They spent
I'm sorry?
$20,000. They spent $20,000 on used smokers.
Okay, it's plural.
Yeah. No, $20,000 a piece.
Oh, but it's
Well, you're doing restaurant smokers, right?
Yeah, they're restaurant size smokers. I mean,
Okay.
but here's the deal.
It
Here's
still
the
just
deal.
seems high.
There's three things about it. Number one, brand new ones cost $15,000.
The fuck?
Number two, they were buying them from Swadley's, from the company that was running the restaurants.
Fucking course.
The state, this was using state funds to buy something from the
that
company
they already owned.
that they already owned. You know what what my favorite part about this whole story? The restaurants in the state parks were not going to offer any kind of smoked foods at all.
What?
This was a money laundering scheme.
Yes.
It all is. Every government operation is a money laundering scheme.
So essentially, they were
It's
buying
foolish
shit
to
from
assume that
themselves.
they're not.
They were committing fraud.
Yep.
Honestly, at this point, it's really kind of idiotic to give the government the presumption of innocence.
Oh yeah.
Look at how all the so-called conservatives came out against the Second Amendment yesterday and today.
What?
You didn't see that?
No.
Because like,
Oh yeah, they're telling you that it's illegal to carry a gun at a protest when it clearly isn't.
yeah, because there's some
Um,
stupid
I-
law
I-
for Minnesota about that, which isn't going to supersede the Constitution and that whole thing. But what it's meant to be, well, we shouldn't say what it's meant to be. It's like what you're supposed to do is conduct yourself properly and not be a raging asshat.
Yes. But you got Kash Patel saying that, mind you, this is Donald Trump, the Republican. Donald Trump, honestly, I think Donald Trump has successfully infiltrated the Republican Party as a Democrat.
I was
at this
gonna
point.
no. Donald Trump was never a Republican until the Democrats refused to put him forward for president.
Right. So you see what I'm getting at. Oh my God. It's all of the Pam Bondi did it too. They're implying that it's illegal to carry a firearm at a protest, and you know, fuck you. We have a Second Amendment. Why don't you dickless asshats spend 2 seconds reading it and understanding what the fucking words mean?
Especially considering the fact there have been several different protests where people have legitimately showed up strapped with quote unquote, and I'm using this sarcastically and insultingly, assault weapons, you know,
Yeah.
rifles, semi-automatic rifles, slung, because they did it here in Michigan at the state capitol like a few years
And
back.
how many people were
and
killed?
Nobody died,
None.
but also everyone who held it. What's really funny is like the only people that even were yelling at each other and whatnot were two jackasses that didn't have guns.
Right.
Like they were the
when,
ones trying to start shit.
When Governor Ralph Northam of what is it, North Kentucky, whatever, where the fuck it was, I can't remember, but there was a
Northam
protest.
was Virginia.
I think it was one of the Virginias. Yeah. Well, we'll just say East Virginia, whatever, because you
West
have to be
Dakota.
an Eastern power to elect that guy. Anyhow, when there was a large pro-gun protest at that capitol, cops behaved themselves for one thing because all of the participants were armed. That's something nobody tends to talk about. Is you get regular protests, cops will either stand aside and watch people destroy everything because they were ordered to stand down, or they'll go in and start trying to exert force on a group of people that they believe is unarmed. But in this case, everyone was armed. All the people who were armed behaved themselves as if they were doing an actual protest and
Mhm.
not a criminal instigation or riot. And all the cops behaved themselves because they were what? Outgunned.
And as Grant Badger said, it's, you know, most the most pro 2A administration ever. I
Yeah.
feel bad for insulting someone who might be mentally
Badger.
challenged for using that voice.
Behold my shocked face.
I
I'm
feel
right there with you,
Where
Badger.
the hell's my
bad for Badger that you read his stuff in that voice.
Okay, let me see if I can go on this one. Ah, I got it. We'll go with the old FUD voice. It's the most pro-2A administration ever.
That was a FUD voice.
I was gonna say, you're saying FUD as in like
Yeah, you say FUD, I think
The-
Elmer J.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
the
that's what
joke
I'm
is.
thinking.
Joke is
Yeah.
off of. It's calling people who would typically pull the whole thing of like, you shouldn't have them scary black rifles. It's typically only like hunting stuff. They're calling a thing of off being Elmer Fudd for being, because Elmer Fudd showing idiocy and whatnot of how he is as a character.
Right.
because they're incompetent.
He's a
Yes.
competent hunter.
And Elmer
It's
J.
just
FUD
that
million.
Bugs
I'm a mansion of
cheats.
the yacht.
No, hold on. Elmer is a competent hunter. It's just that Bug can fucking bend reality to his will.
You ready for me to quote Ask Patel?
No,
Not really.
No, you'll love this. You'll love this.
I'm pretty sure I've already read it, but go ahead.
You probably have, but I'm gonna be me. No one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines, and you do not get to touch law enforcement. Show me any fucking firearm loaded with 2 full magazines at the same time, idiot. God, you're a fucking moron.
Yeah, especially in that whole situation, because like carrying a spare magazine is not illegal. A lot of people do it. I did it for a fucking long
Honestly,
time.
you know what this smells of, Rotten?
Incompetence and
This smells of
Retardation?
fully semi-automatic magazine clips.
Uh,
Got it.
it's also got the
Fully
shoulder thing that goes up.
semi. It's still ow. You're hurting me, Mitch.
Gotta love Dana Lash because she has stuck to her guns on this and has been slapping down everybody.
Who do?
Dana Lash?
The fully semi-automatic version.
No, the she's
Dana
a true pro gun, pro 2A person,
Oh, okay.
and has been every single time she's seen somebody making a stupid argument about this against gun rights, she's been slapping them down. It has been glorious.
And to go on Badger, and he like FUDs will also be like a lot of the ones. Typically, it's more boomers and whatnot. You'll see it be like, I'll carry a 45 because they don't make a 46. And I'm like, bitch, they make a 460 rolling. What? And he's like, yeah, he carries a spare mag every day. I don't always, just because I forget about it. And I'm a very boring person. I go to work. I go to the gym. I go to the grocery store. I typically visit my parents on the weekends. I don't have to work. I go home.
You know, it's like when you're rewiring your house. And someone asks you, is it 220? And you say, yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Oh no.
If you're watching Star Trek and you realize that the new Trek people are going to have something that's even more devious than Section 31, it's Section 32.
Oh,
Section 35.
no.
I'm gonna go home and I'm come home tomorrow. I'm gonna wire my house in 241.
On occasion, I carry the 2 spare mags if I have to go to Milwaukee. Yeah, like there's valid reasons for it, and some people just don't understand that because like if it comes to a semi-automatic pistol, typically the first thing that's going to fail on it is going to be the magazine.
And if I'm going to Detroit, I'm carrying 2 spare mags and a box of ammo.
Fuck that. I'll just glue the 2 magazines to the side of the pistol grip. On the other side with the 3rd magazine loaded. That way I'll never run out of ammo.
Now, Mitch, I think you ought to do the old NAM thing to where you tape them together, but they're corresponding
Inverted?
directions. So all you have to do is pull one out, flip it over, and put it back in.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Fluffy. I'm just gonna carry my camera because nothing ever happens to the cameraman.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's a fucking
And with,
lie.
with
you,
Detroit,
you like to think that, but
and with Detroit, it all depends
Somebody's been watching unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Watch the lackluster YouTube channel.
and
yeah,
well, with Detroit, it all depends on like what part of Detroit you go to, because it's the same thing with Chicago. Like if you're going to inner city Chicago, like inner city Detroit, you're probably going to run into problems. But if you're in fucking suburbia, you're most likely just going to have to deal with an overbearing Karen, which you'll most likely be able to
deal with a wild Karen.
which you'll most likely be able to outrun by walking at a slightly above brisk pace. Actually, probably
Well,
slightly
duty
below
to
brisk
free.
pace.
this is
Well,
this is
what's the deal
crippled
with a
me we're
wild card?
talking about.
Hence why I said
I
I meant to
was
say
gonna say,
I meant below
Ye-
brisk pace. So you walking normally, you'll probably still outrun them.
I was
don't know.
going to say you could probably outrun me that I'm crippled.
Are you a Karen?
No, she's an Angela.
And why are we outrunning you? If there's a Karen on the loose, we're taking you with us.
Hey, what if the Karen is chasing Angela?
I
we
was
gotta
gonna
stop the
say
Karen from
that
chasing
you're gonna
Angela.
have to turn around and put me in a wagon.
Or we just have to face
That's
down
only
the
if you
Karen.
need to
like
outrun them. I
Angela.
bet you could throw one fist, Angela, and knock that fucker down.
Probably.
Nice.
Most likely.
I just think I mean I spend most of my day dealing with overbearing Karens. Basically, you just throw their Stanley Cup back at them.
That or all you gotta do is
miss-
just start asking questions. Especially just start
There's a-
pulling the old school child one of why.
There's a
But why?
Lexus in the parking lot that has its lights on. There you go. They're all gone.
Mm.
So a Toyota.
No. They drive Lexuses.
So a
So
Toyota.
Yeah, but don't
Oh,
tell them that. They'll break down and cry. That's the point.
I sit there.
My dad
I-
has actually done that to a coworker because she was like, I don't drive a Toyota. I drive a Lexus. And he actually had her open the hood and showed her the Toyota markings on the Lexus. And within a week, she had gotten rid of the car
Why don't they like Toyota?
because they think it's too budget
Because what
oriented.
they're
It's the
looking for is a
poors.
status symbol.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
And quite honestly, I mean, Toyota's a pretty fucking nice vehicles in
Yeah, but they're
of themselves.
they're more of a working man's vehicle.
Right. It's not about how nice the vehicle is. It's
Yeah,
about
because they
the
got to do
status
that
symbol.
whole keeping up with the Joneses.
I don't know.
Keeping up with, in this case, it's keeping up with the retards who don't know how cars work.
Trying to outrun the Joneses.
Mm.
If you drive an old enough vehicle, anything made past 2015 just feels like you're in a spaceship now.
A spaceship with a bunch of useless features.
Mm,
I do.
I'll be honest, heated seats would be really nice for me.
Heated seats
That's
are
not-
actually nice in
therefore it's not
general.
useless.
Oh yeah.
That is one thing I do
Here's
nice
one of
about
the
my
things-
Subi because apparently I didn't realize it since I used to drive for a couple years a 2016 Subaru Outback. So apparently I was a lesbian and didn't know it.
I don't know, man. I'd kind of like to have a Subaru. I mean, all-wheel drive wagon. The only way you're going to get anything like that, you're going to go up into Audi territory.
Oh, dude,
It's sensible.
That freaking Outback. I ended up going down the wrong road one day when I was in Clovis because me and my buddy were going to the range, and I should have took the actual paved road, but I took the normal dirt road that I did and forgot that it had rained the day before, and we didn't have enough heat for it to dry up like it normally did. So I was in first shift because it was a manual transmission majority of the time, white knuckling it. And there were more than, a couple occasions to where quite literally, even though I was driving in a single direction or in the direction I was already headed, my vehicle was not pointed that way. I was basically drifting.
my gosh.
But you want to have real fun?
Hey,
You start
I just knew
drifting a
that-
cargo van.
I just knew this because it's the biggest
No.
thing when it comes to mud and stuff like that. You don't want to stop because as soon as you stop, you're fucked.
Mhm.
I have driven a Sprinter up a hill sideways.
Oh,
Okay.
It was winter and had to spin the wheels to get up the
Mm-hmm.
hill. And it's a rear wheel drive cargo van. Very long, very tall rear wheel drive cargo van. Y'all missed one particular very important detail in dealing with the Karens though.
Mhm.
If I'm there, there is something to be said for the accidental strategic placement of a cane.
And you go back to your,
I'm sorry that you face planted there. I was just walking. You get tangled up in my cane.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
as I said, the question
course,
is though
if there
for
were-
your driving in that one, were you rocking the Tokyo Drift soundtrack in the background?
Was not because I didn't have it in the van. I did come up with a new conspiracy theory today.
And
mm.
You did?
Yep, and it's less political, but
Okay.
it touches on politics and government. So people love dogs, man's best friend. We get lots of dogs in this country and everything. And unlike other countries, we don't eat them as a rule. So it occurred to me with the push to get animals chipped and everything. All these dogs, aside from ones born stray and everything, we're not actually microchipping them for tracking and everything, just a simple RFID tag. They're being fitted with a neural insert chip that has Wi-Fi capabilities and hits the optical and auditory nerves, and the hooks up with the NSA, and they've got like server farms of 500 yottabytes each, just downloading audio and visual from every
so this
dog
is
in the
this is to
country.
add or to pair them with the pigeons aren't real because they're actually spy drones.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
but the dogs are real.
Yes, I said to
They're
pair
just
with.
cyborgs.
They're
Right.
being converted.
They're being
no.
converted to spy tools. And so
That
everything
makes
that a
sense.
dog sees and everything that a dog hears is being uploaded to the NSA anytime that the dog is within range of a Wi-Fi.
No wonder the NSA's and like FBI and that's so full of a bunch of degenerates. The shit they hear.
Yeah.
Will, my brother says that you're drifting sideways uphill.
Both
you
ways
need
uphill.
to add that it was going uphill both ways on the way to school.
In the snow.
Yep.
It was already in the snow. Tears.
It was already in the
snow.
It was in the
The
snow.
Yeah, it's extra
The
snow.
The reason why I went uphill sideways was because the road didn't have enough traction to go up straight.
Oof.
And
I remember climbing
you
up
turn- You turn off the traction control and you let those wheels spin, the back end kicks out because it's lighter than the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you'd have to for a rear-wheel drive vehicle in the winter, just like any vehicle, even for a front-wheel drive vehicle, you want to add weight to the back, one, so it gets more traction, but two, so it's less likely to sway as much for like the front wheel drive car vehicles, and especially rear wheel drive vehicles.
See, front wheel doesn't have as much sway because the wheels are always pulling you.
Yes, but it still
But
can.
the rear, yeah, that when you're driving a pusher, well, there's a reason why muscle cars aren't really that practical in Michigan, so much of the year.
Yeah.
I'd add hundreds of pounds in sandbags to the back end, and it would still just. Now that it would swing out less with the traction control in place unless you actually like on ice. But there were places where you had to turn the traction control off because otherwise it would kick in and basically kill your traction going uphill, because the traction control basically said, oh, a wheel starts to spin, take the power from that, convert it to torque, and throw it to the other tire that has traction.
Mm-hmm.
You start going up a hill that's not, I think it just starts throwing all the power back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, right, and kills your forward momentum.
You sound like you needed posi traction.
Mm.
My brother wants to know if anyone has ever actually seen a baby pigeon.
Nope.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I have.
I don't
friend
know
of
that
mine
there-
was-
I haven't really lived in pigeon areas, if you know what I mean.
He was trying to play off of the pigeons all being
I
wrong.
understand.
No, the funny
A
part is for
friend
the,
of mine used to raise pigeons in a pigeon coop.
yeah, as I said, the funny thing is like the reason why we have so many pigeons in that whole thing is because they used to be a status symbol.
No,
It used to be seagulls.
yeah.
What?
No, pigeons.
Actually, pigeons are doves.
Yeah, they're a rock dove, and they used to be a status symbol.
So we have
Okay.
the rich to blame for the pigeon problem.
Yes, and then we have what's his name who said that
my
they were
God.
flying rats in a
Guys,
movie.
I just realized I just found something spectacular.
Right.
Because I went to go look up pigeons so I could see a pigeon chick,
A baby pigeon.
a baby pigeon.
I'm
But
so
then
sorry.
But then I found out the American Pigeon Museum and Library is in Oklahoma City, and I'm going to go. As soon as the weather's good.
Take your camera.
This is going to be
Always.
awesome. Fucking pigeons.
It's just proof that pigeons aren't real.
I mean, the
I'm
funny thing is
gonna-
they did. Go ahead.
going to go there the same day I go to the Railroad Museum.
Bring a spare memory card or spare film. I don't remember if you have digital or not.
Mm.
I got both. This is going to be a great day.
Travis.
We also have the Banjo Museum here, which I actually went to.
The what?
They have the Banjo
Banjo?
Museum.
Banjo. Okay, you
You said
slurred.
banjo.
Yeah,
I
you
was
slurred
like,
how you
going,
said.
what
And I'm
happened?
like, the fuck is a banjo?
Okay, I'll go
You
away
got to
now.
ban the Jew.
I went there in Harrison, Arkansas, the Banjo Museum.
Okay, I guess I can't ever go to Harrison, Arkansas.
It's the home of the Klan, the modern Klan.
Why would I want to go to? Yeah, never mind. Thank you for letting me know where I don't want to go on vacation.
Yeah.
Badger Band Jew? So apparently there's a band called this.
Apparently, you can ban the Jew. What the fuck is this damn thing?
What is it with all of these museums in Detroit? Oh, dang, I just realized that the
Mike
Freshman-
Tyson better have a hologram as the tour guide for the Pigeon Museum. That would be
Freshman
hysterical.
5 is still there.
Dude, this looks fucking awesome.
Tragic just letting his fucking tism go.
Yeah, he is.
We could see the war the war history of the pigeon.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. They had
Okay, that is cool.
Yeah, they had actually thought about using pigeons in missiles as well, to where basically it would peck which way it needed to be guided. Like
I was actually about to ask if Travis had heard about that.
Yeah, the military has
Yeah.
done some crazy stuff with pigeons,
You know, the weird.
and they're
yeah,
surprisingly intelligent.
The person that came up with that is B.F. Skinner, who's the idea of behaviorism in psychology, which
Okay.
He's the he came up with that for the homing for the missiles and the pigeon for that. He also derided all of modern psychology for being just mysticism in woo, which
At the time it was.
Well, he
Oh,
modern.
malarkey.
Well, consider what was considered modern at the time.
He didn't like the idea of humanism.
Well, he just fails to understand that man was created in God's image, not you, creature.
He's like one of my favorite weirdos in history.
I want to go to the Air Zoo Aerospace and Science Museum in Portage.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking about conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Lean into it.
Do you guys this isn't really a theory. This was this is actual fact. Does anybody here know of who John David Norman is?
That
John
sounds
David
familiar.
Sounds familiar.
Norman.
Let me know what the conspiracy is.
Could you just think of Jeffrey Epstein in the 1960s and 70s?
Okay.
Convicted numerous times
That's
between
not really
1960
gonna.
and 98 on charges of child molestation and child pornography. Throughout his life, Norman operated various direct mailing services dedicated to distributing child pornography and arranging sex trafficking. Among these operations were the Odyssey Foundation, based in Dallas, the Delta Project, Creative Corps, and MC Publications of Chicago, and Handy Andy from Pennsylvania. And that's where the blurb stops.
Well, found in his, and this is not rumored, this was documented. Found in his during one of his busts, he had a mailing list in 3x5 note cards of 30,000 people.
Jesus.
Damn.
So the police pulled this out and said, this is humongous. They contacted the FBI and told them what it was. The FBI told him to contact the State Department. The State
In the
Department.
Federal Department of State?
Yes.
Okay.
The State Department promptly destroyed all those note cards.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did hear about this recently, actually.
Yeah, because they found this guy's name and phone number in John Wayne Gacy's house and Dean Corll down in Houston. He also had links to pretty much 30,000 people. He had pretty much links to everybody.
I can't even get 1,000 followers on Twitter.
Same.
Yeah.
Can't even get 1,000 subscribers amongst two channels.
I must be selling the wrong product.
Well, I'm not mad about that.
I mean,
Yep, near my.
I'm making a point, but go ahead.
But I'm sitting here sitting here, and it's like. Then there was another one that was called fuck, what was his name? I can't believe I blanked on it. Another one in the 80s and 90s on the same scale, on the same child trafficking and child pornography. And I'm sitting there thinking, is like, how many generations of fucking massive pedophile rings do we have to break up in this country?
How many of them are funded by the fucking government, it seems?
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that if government wasn't involved in these rings, they wouldn't be an issue for breaking up.
I was gonna say they would have already been broke up by now
Right.
and never have been like nobody else would have been able to pick up the bag.
Meanwhile, a while back when Patel and Mangina, or Dan Vakanta, whatever the fuck his name is, were bragging about breaking up this 768 or some whatever child sex ring. Had anyone ever heard of that sex ring before they started talking about it?
No.
I am actually just now hearing about it, so
Yeah, so I wonder if that was anything that was really done, or if they were just
Blowing smoke.
I mean, it could
Well,
be blowing smoke.
if
It
they were
could have
just
been.
sharing a glory hole.
It could have been
Uh,
a very underground one that was only known because of X, Y, or Z. This isn't in obviously defense of them, but for
It
a
could
lot of
also
those
be-
things, secrecy is a big factor of them because
Yeah.
they're a bunch of
It also-
degenerates. Sorry, go ahead.
it also could be something that was finally taken care
Yep.
of so that it could be released into the news cycle to distract us from something else.
Mhm.
Yeah, from the Epstein thing.
Not
Probably.
no, not Epstein. Something
No, I think it was, Angela.
I'm you
go
can
on, I know
think
what you mean.
that all, because honestly, I think the Epstein thing was thrown into the news cycle to distract us from stuff that was happening at that time. So
Could be.
Highly
They
plausible.
could have broke it up because the government doesn't like competition.
Hmm.
I don't think that's it. I think it's more likely that it served its purpose, and we have other opportunities to exploit. So that became a low priority, and once it becomes low priority, hey, look, everyone, look what we stopped. Now we get to play heroes while we're doing the same thing right over here.
Hmm.
Look over there at what we just broke up, but over here, don't look over here because there we're doing the exact same thing. I think that's how these operations operate.
Highly plausible, and I will be back. I got all the water running through me, apparently.
You got the what?
I said I got all the
got a
water running through
piss.
me.
Yeah.
I have to use the restroom to rest.
His middle name is Flo.
Mm.
First name is all.
Mm.
But it wouldn't surprise me that once the government gets done, once an operation's usefulness is over, it wouldn't be surprised me if they use them as a sacrificial lamb. It sucks.
And
It honestly sucks having that opinion of my own government. But what other opinion could I have at this point, honestly? They're not
Yeah,
exactly
but-
doing things to inspire confidence, are they?
Because if it wasn't true, then they would have taken care of it a long time ago.
Right.
yeah.
Say, I basically have that opinion of all governments, Mitch. So
Well, yeah, so do I. But we used to be the United States of America. We used to stand for something in this country. We clearly do not anymore.
Not like we used to.
I'm
Agreed.
kind of wondering exactly when it was lost. If it was,
Early
if it
20th century.
if what it was supposed to be lasted any longer than John Adams.
Late 19th century. I
What's
mean,
up,
you
Frosty?
could look at, you could point to a bunch of different eras in American history and see where another step was taken. One would be in the Civil War with what Lincoln did. Another would be in with the advent of the Frankfurt School in the early 20th century and adopting those policies. Another one would be World War II, and well, either World War I or II, when health insurance became a thing. Because, you know, for all that talk about health insurance that our government does, and incidentally, the Trump administration has no interest in repealing Obamacare. They want to replace it instead.
Yeah.
Which is just replacing one tyranny with another. Hey, Frosted.
Epstein was a
Frosted.
distraction from the Death Star Trump's building.
But what was I on about? Health insurance.
Mhm.
During that entire hullabaloo, during the the back and forth about the Affordable Care Act under Obama, what question did no one ask?
Who was paying
No
for
one
it?
asked, why do we need to have health insurance in the first place? Why can't we just pay doctors for what they
Mhm.
do? Why does there have to be this whole thing between me and my doctor?
And a
No one
middleman.
no one ever asked that question. No one ever asked, why did health insurance become a thing in the first place? Well, I'd asked, and I did find out that, I can't remember if it was World War I or II, but when all the men were sent off to war, and a lot of the people throwing in scrap metal and whatnot for the war effort and all that stuff.
I talked about that once on Tears. It was they started doing it because of
The
wage.
workforce was diminished.
Well, because of war. They put wage controls in at the war industries, so they
Right.
limited how much they could pay people. So companies started giving out health insurance to
Yep.
attract
As an
different
incentive.
people.
Exactly, to attract the best workers.
And that was that's why you have that on the West Coast. It's Kaiser,
Kaiser Permanente, yeah.
because that was started by Kaiser Industries,
Sorry.
which he was a weirdo in his way. Interesting person, but he started giving his employees health insurance because he couldn't pay them more, but he
Right.
wanted to get more work out of them. So I was like, hey guys, if you come work for me and you work your ass off, I'm going to give you health insurance. I'm going to give you all this other stuff because I can't pay you more because the government says I can't. And that was where he got it.
Yep.
He was also very fucking genius when it come to mass production.
Oh,
But
sure. But then after the need for it went away, it didn't go away. And now we're stuck with this bloated fucking mess where, honestly, if you were a doctor right now, or if you let's say you owned a private hospital even, and you put up a fucking menu board saying, this is the procedure, this is what it costs, the industry would come down on you for it.
Yeah, they did that in an area because the dude got tired of dealing with the insurance companies. Like, I understand of like why malpractice insurance happened, and because like the whole thing for insurance is more than just a government thing that's gonna have to go on. That's gonna have to be the insurance companies as well, which I'd be 100% fine with them losing their jobs. Like, I think
Oh, yes.
Johnny and Will work for them, and I'd feel bad
Johnny's
for you too.
Johnny's in health. I'm in property and casualty.
Well, yeah.
Because that was one of the main problems was, like they'd have like hypochondriacs because they didn't feel they got the care they need or something, they'd sue them, or a minor mistake happened, which is going to happen because people are only human and not every human is the same, and something happened. So, we're going to sue you because of this. So they had to go through and do that. And then all the insurance companies want to do is not pay out because that goes
Yep.
way the fuck back to, well, we got to do it for the shareholders. Why the fuck does an insurance company have shareholders?
Because that's another way to con more money out of people.
Stock company is just one of the structures an insurance company can have. Another one is mutual. The mutual companies, your policyholders own the company.
Mm.
Bad idea.
And what happens as a result? Medical prices go up across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for example, if you own a private hospital and you have affordable health care for everyone who comes in and just pays the bill, the industry is going to come down on you because they're going to be priced out of a job.
Well, that's like if you want to piss off the medical industry as well, you can ask for an itemized bill, and whenever they go through and like they pay for a bandage, you can make them bring it down by basically going and buying like a $3 box of band-aids. Hey, here you go. You can bring,
Yep.
you can take this one off because they're not going to charge you for like a single band-aid used. They're going to charge you for the box.
Yep.
And it's like, bitch, if you're going to charge me for, it's like you used a knife. Where's that knife? We had to throw it away. I want my fucking knife.
Yep.
That's like
Exactly.
one of the things people don't realize as well, because they always want to bring up, typically it's the pregnancy or the when a woman gives birth and whatnot. You can actually go through to the hospital you're going to go with and set up basically a prepayment thing and pay way the fuck less. My one of my
Here's another
cousins did
fun-
that.
Here's another fun scam in the medical industry. They will, and you have the right, as far as I know, to retain anything they remove from you: spleen, lizards, whatever. Did I say lizards? Who
I
cares?
really, yeah,
Gizzard. That's what I meant to
is what
say.
you meant. I kind of thought that was what you meant. We don't have them, but yeah.
And in fact, since they charge you for all those, for all that gauze and everything they use to suck up the blood while they're operating on you, well, claim all that stuff as yours. Tell them, go before you go in, I want all my, anything that has my DNA on it is mine. If I pay for that knife, the knife is mine. It's got my blood on it. If I pay for the gauze, it's mine. It's got my blood on it. Anything like that, keep, because let's say, for example, I go in and get surgery. Well, there's a little fucking bit in all the forms you fill out. You basically sign over your the right to your genetic code. And if my genetic code has the one that is the cure for AIDS, I'm going to goddamn keep that for myself. And I'm going to profit on it, not somebody else.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking mine.
Yeah,
And
'cause
you know what? I wouldn't even profit like a madman. I just want enough to be able to live comfortably.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than comfortably.
Yeah, I want to be able to have it to live a more better and comfortable life, not have to have a job.
Yeah. If my blood has the cure for AIDS and I can make a $50 billion a year profit on it, I want to keep 1 or 2 billion of those dollars for myself. There's no way in hell I'm going to let Kaiser or fucking Phobos
Frosty
or
doesn't
any of
work
those
that
other
way.
motherfuckers
I mean,
run off with my fortune. Fuck them.
I say, Frost, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I understand that your mom couldn't keep her leg in that whole thing, which I agree with.
Sure.
It's like I think is wrong. Like you should have been able to keep the bones. I don't really want the meat and everything, unless like I would make a cane out of it or something. But it's not anything with your DNA on it. Like you pay to use the room and it has to be clean. This is talking about for the medical thing.
I'd make a cane out of my femur.
I mean, I'm not saying I'll keep it
No,
and
he
make a
said
necklace.
if
and,
anything with my
maybe-
DNA on is mine, man, I own a ton of motel rooms.
Yeah, no kidding.
I knew somebody that took that lost their leg, and they got it back. They took it to the Museum of Osteo something in
Osteopathy.
Norman, osteopathy down in Norman, and they had the little bugs clear the flesh off of it, and he got to keep the bones. He mounted them.
Hey, let
I mean,
me
yeah, I
let me
can- I
tell
can-
you, when
Well,
I
I'm
when I
not-
have the hip replacement done, I'm keeping that femoral head because that is becoming the head of a king.
I'm not keeping it
Oh,
for it to become biohazardous waste. I'll dispose of the waste myself. That way I know it's disposed of.
Yeah.
I
So that's
want
like
every
Clown said
part.
when he tried to get, like he tried to keep his mom's gallbladder, they wouldn't give it to him. When he got his teeth pulled, they wouldn't give it to him. They considered it hazardous material or hazardous waste. And it's like, no, that's bullshit. That's them probably trying to mean that they already threw it out when they weren't supposed to.
I mean,
And if you need to have a lizard removed, or reptile, or what was that? A
Reptilectomy.
rectalectomy. No, that's just getting something removed from your butt, and you shouldn't be putting lizards up your butt.
Yeah,
I mean,
do the whole badge.
I'm not your dad.
it's not that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Wait,
the
what?
badge 502
he says
side.
a reptilectomy, not a rectalectomy.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
needs to have a lizard
rectalectomy.
removed, and it's usually
Rectal.
going to be removed from his butt.
Call herpetologist.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's the more common thing. It's not like he would have swallowed it.
Yeah.
Look, I have
Well, some
customers
people.
that want their old parts back, and it's their parts, so let them keep it. So I don't understand why doctors don't do the same.
Hmm.
I'm actually surprised the doctors don't, the hospitals don't charge you a disposal fee.
They
Oh, that's right,
probably
give you an
do.
idea. It's probably baked in somewhere,
Yeah.
honestly.
Exactly. That's how I feel, man. It's probably baked in somewhere.
It's kind of like when you go buy tires, they charge you to dispose of them. Yeah, we have to dispose of your leg. That's an extra $50. Sorry,
Oh,
it's the
We have
wrong
to
leg.
we have to toss your leg out. $50.
I am definitely certain they charge you a disposal fee. I've had to deliver to the places that actually process the disposal.
Nice.
Turns out they're actually
They-
just feeding chihuahuas.
They stink. Oh,
Oh,
they
I bet.
stink. I
Chihuahuas?
felt like
God, no.
I felt like I was going to get something communicable every single time I walked into that place. I asked
And
before
Frosty, he'll
anything
keep
was
his butt lizard.
removed
I
if
mean,
I go in with something I want
like
to.
I said, I'm not your dad, so you're gonna do you. It's just gonna be cruelty to animals. You fucking degenerate.
Hmm.
Oh,
let me tell you, clown. I'm in good with my orthopedic surgeon. When I get the hip replacement done, they are giving me that femoral head. It's mine, damn it. And that will be the head of an amazing king.
you tip him under the table.
Skull crusher.
Yes, that was like when the cyst was removed from my wrist. I had forgot that day to remind them that, hey, I want a picture of it. Like, I don't need to keep it. I want a picture of it because I want a picture of it and something to compare it to. So there's a comparison of how big that bastard was. And then it was really funny because later on that fucking Lieutenant Admiral, I believe it was, had to actually admit to me, yeah, it wasn't just a small cyst like we thought it was. So I'm pretty sure I've told that story. But it's like, yeah, I went in because it had been bugging me. It actually hurt to do push-ups and other things and whatnot. And when I came back after it was removed and went to talk to him to see how everything was, he goes, yeah, you were the big winner chicken dinner. I went, what? He goes, that was the biggest cyst I've ever removed. It wrapped around your wrist 270 degrees.
Damn.
Wow.
Yay.
Say,
There was much rejoicing.
yes, Frosted. I do
Very
have some idea how hard it is to find a Komodo dragon. Still,
That, but yeah, that rotten. I would have said, okay, where's my fucking chicken dinner?
Yeah, I didn't think of that time frame. I don't remember if I was still
I
on
should have
drugs
got
or
my
not.
appendix.
I would have loved to have gotten a picture of my appendix, considering it was I don't know if I'd have actually been able to see it since it was encased in a 2-inch diameter ball of pus and infection.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my appendix ruptured when I was 17. 2 weeks later, I went to the hospital. Like I've said,
Rotten.
statistically, I should have been dead a long time ago.
Rotten, you are either the luckiest or the unluckiest human being I know.
I think it's a little of both.
Yet I can't win the lotto, which is pissing me off the most.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
that's because there's not a whole lot of unlucky that comes with that unless you turn around and fall for the lotto curse.
And what's the point of having health insurance if the copay will bankrupt you?
Yeah. And then the worst thing is, like, if you get a secondary insurance and whatnot, they'll fucking argue of which one's the primary.
Yeah.
You know, of all the health insurance out there, I think the biggest, most useless one is vision.
Uh,
Well, that's because you can see.
I was gonna
I
say
think Tragic has
um,
glasses.
I do. I had just got glasses.
Say,
I was very grateful for my vision insurance when I had it.
yeah, as somebody who has to have medical eye exams every year and is
Asshole,
getting really borderline on legally blind.
Get down. Sorry.
Yeah, I still got to go through and get an eye exam because I haven't had one in a long time.
I am
Maybe-
overdue for it, and they have to do the whole dilation and everything. I hate that.
I'm just glad I don't have to get the picture of my eye for see if there's any damage from lasers anymore.
You
Because
used to have to get pictures of your eye to see if there was laser damage.
yes, because I used to work with a system called
Laser.
Laercom, which is actually a system designed, because you can look this one up. So what I'm actually saying is completely unclassified and all over the place. It's the thing that has typically a minimum of 5 sensors, and it has 2 turrets with lasers to actually see where the missile's at.
Laser.
And it has when like heat-seeking missiles or whatnot are shot off, because flares won't always override it because there are smart missiles. It shoots a laser that's above a class,
Laser.
either a class 4 or above.
Why do you keep saying laser after he says laser?
Laser.
Because he's
But,
pulling his
dude.
Dr. Evil.
Dude,
But it will it'll
It-
hit the sensor for the heat-seeking missile and then direct it far enough until it runs out of fuel to where it'll just fall.
class 4.
At least.
Why were they even bothering to do eye checks? If you get hit in the eye with a class 4 laser, you'll know.
Oh, because in the whole thing, supposedly, this is one of the okay, I gotta throw the tinfoil hat time up there, because
Yeah, it's
in the
still-
whole
I
thing,
think
when they
it's still
actually
up there.
put the thing in there for the
Mhm.
the secret card that has the software on that for it, says it pulls off of like its actual ability to where it can actually use its full output and not a lowered output. On that, I don't know.
Uh,
I'm not an engineer.
No, because I'm sitting next to a class 4 laser.
Laser.
I've got I've got all the safety training material and everything. I could be certified as a laser safety officer.
Laser.
Thank you, Mitch.
Please stop.
A class 4 is permanent scarring.
Yeah.
In less than half a second exposure.
Oh yeah, with how
You get
this
hit
one,
with
how this one
you
could
get hit with
be,
a class
hit
4.
in milliseconds.
Yeah, it's less than half a second and permanent
Mhm.
scarring.
Yeah, but we still had to
So-
go and have a picture taken of our eyeball for that. Because supposedly it could do it at a degraded thing or whatnot to where it wouldn't be at its full power. I don't know, man. I didn't question everything in the military. I was just like, son of a bitch, I hate this thing. 'Cause it's got to do a little poof at your eye before that. And they'd be like, hold your eye, like, keep your eye open. It's like, let me go and tell you to keep your eye open while fucking blowing into your eye, you bitch.
I had that. I did that fucking eye puffer, and I went to that whole. I told you all the story about the eye exam and that. That was and
The-
that insane girl
Mm.
that had to tell me the entire life story.
You attract those, though, Travis. We've already
Yeah.
had that discussion.
I thought it was he was
And if I wasn't-
attracted to those.
And if it wasn't for DMV girl, I would have probably said something to her.
In English?
DMV
Probably.
girl.
Yeah, DMV girl.
If you'd be like, so you single?
It occasionally works.
As to the thing that puffs air into your eye,
Mm-hmm.
I prefer that to the damn when they're doing a pressure test on your eye and they like try to set the pressure gauge on your eyeball.
I haven't had that.
And I was like, oh hell no.
Well, that's what the puffer is.
I'm like, yeah, no, that is what that is.
Yeah.
And before they did that, they used to actually put a pressure gauge on your eyeball.
I rather
And they tried to do that to me when I was like 8 years old, 10 years old, something like that. And they could not get my eye open. They tried to pry my eye open, and it was not going to happen. They ended up doing a different test because they could not get me. They were not getting my eye open because you do not touch my eye. You can put eye drops in my eye, but you do not touch my eye.
No touch the Angela eyes.
A little.
say I would much rather the puff. Say I much rather that puff of air than when they take that bright light and a mirror and a
Oh god, I know what you're
prism,
talking about,
and
yeah.
they start scanning every single part of your retina with a floodlight.
Mm-hmm. And they're like,
We
oh,
watch
just
horror
relax.
movies.
And it's
It's
like,
like
how do you expect me to relax?
Yeah.
This is like when I overextended my my right arm because we were doing volleyball in airman leadership school, and I fell backwards and I landed on my arm, so I hyperextended my arm, and I had a massive bruise in my bicep. And the doc is just like grabbing my arm to try to get my blood pressure to lower, but he's got his hand directly and squeezing into where there's a bruise. And he's like, just relax, just relax. It's like, motherfucker, how do you expect me to relax when you keep pressing that fucking area? Like, how would you feel if in that situation I just reached down and grabbed you right by the nuts and went, relax, relax, and just kept squeezing?
Exactly.
Unless you're a fucking degenerate.
yeah, this isn't Frosted.
Clown mom's laughing hearing sister's story. She's probably like, I was there, so yeah, I know. It's like, I saw it. Yeah, that's how she was. It's so funny.
Yeah, they do, but my eyes have been photophobic for decades. I really can't stand the bright light. I keep it dim in here. Sunlight's painful. And then they go and they say, I've joked in our movies about, 5-watt bulbs and everything. Well, that's the equivalent of a 1,000-watt bulb they're shining in your eye, it feels like. And then leave and you can't see, and takes forever to dilate my eyes, and then it takes forever for them to go back to normal. So I'm wearing the last time I was working in the office, when I had the eye exam before work, and I had to wear the sunglasses inside while working and could still barely tolerate the screen. It didn't wear off until I was halfway
Will has every
every
superhero
superhero
weakness
weakness
ever.
ever. Yeah, pretty much. It was I was over halfway home before it wore off, so I was wearing my sunglasses driving at night
I was just about to make that song.
because
It's
my
like,
eyes were still
so you have to wear your sunglasses at night so you can see.
yeah, because it was and they were still so dilated at that point I could still see.
Yeah, the only other
Yes.
eye one that I've had an issue with is when it's at least twice, once at work while trying to do a freaking checklist thing with where I had to get out like contact a bunch of people and everything when I was in mock, and I had an ophthalmic migraine where quite literally majority of my vision was just a massive white dot.
Okay, that's creepy.
Wow.
It's scary.
Yeah, that shit sucked.
I get those too. I actually get those. I don't want to say on a regular basis, but the ones that I get are more like kaleidoscope vision at the edge of my vision. Only the last couple of times have both been in like the last 3 weeks or so. And it started out with like the kaleidoscope being in the middle of my vision and just expanding.
Yeah, those are called. A friend of mine used to get them. They're called like eye quakes or something.
Ocular migraine.
Yeah, and he said that shit is fucking trippy.
It's scary as hell when the first time you have it, because I thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah, because the first time you have it, your brain goes, "Okay, this is it."
This is the end.
I still will say like when I had that because the first event happened was I think it was when I was at work. It's the first second I can't remember because I've only remember it happening twice massively. I still got the checklist done in proper time and surprisingly didn't fuck it up. But when I got done, I'm like, I just pushed away from my desk and just like put my head, my eyes, or it's like my face into my hands. They're like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "No." Until about they're like, "Oh fuck, dude! Like, why didn't you let us know?" It's like, cause shit had to get done. They're like I'm a mostly functioning idiot, but when it comes to doing my job, I fucking do my job. As the old saying goes, don't half-ass one thing or half-ass a bunch of things, whole-ass one thing.
So I'm still trying to get used to my glasses. I'm finally hit getting bifocals. So
Do you have proper bifocals, or did they con you into the progressives?
I got both. I got a pair of progressives and I got a pair of bifocals, just regular bifocals. And
You know what the con is with that.
well, I don't know what the con is on it, but the progressives, it just feels like my glasses are smudged all the time.
It's an adjustment for the progressives. You do get used to it pretty quickly. What took me the longest was being able to move my head around without either closing my eyes or fixing them in like I'm looking straight ahead no matter where I turn my head. It's going to move my eyes too, because it would be if you fix your eyes on an object and you move your head around, it passes through multiple focal powers.
Yeah.
And until you're used to it, that really messes with you. No, the con with it is they talk about progressive bifocals. Progressive bifocals are no line trifocals. They have 3 distinct focal lengths with soft transitions between them. They're not bifocals, they're trifocals.
I mean, They just feel like they're smudged all the time. I got two pairs. I got the regular bifocals because I wanted something just to get some cheaper to wear at work.
Hmm.
He just wanted to feel
And
distinguished.
and then I got like a set that's the blue light filter polarized. And honestly, I like the lined bifocals better.
I actually was like, nah, I don't want to do progressives. I just wear regular bifocals. I had bifocals with the first pair of glasses I ever got when I was like 8 or 9. And I have had bad bifocals almost every time I've had glasses since then.
I just gotta go get an eye exam, and I think when I do, I'm gonna see if I can get a couple set of safety glasses. I know work will pay for at least one.
And
Do you wear glasses, Ron?
No, but if I do need them, because
Rotten? Yeah.
I am farsighted, so I typically have a harder time seeing stuff closer up a bit. My eyes
Mm.
go back and forth of being okay and whatnot. I mean, at least I don't have what I used to have when I was a kid, to where, I'd go to read something and you start reading the page over and over again, or the same sentence. And then did y'all ever have it? I think Angela would be the closest, to where then the page would start to spin.
Mm.
No.
Never had that.
Yeah, I had that when I was in 6th grade. My fifth and sixth grade teacher, since it was the same guy, he recognized it because it was something he had when he was younger. And I had glasses then, and they had helped out dramatically. And I've had them before because they do help for some things, specifically for like reading, or if I'm gonna be on a computer for a long time. So I wouldn't mind getting them for being a little more computer oriented.
and to answer Frosted's question, yes, I just found a place where you can get prescription monocles.
I want a monocle.
I'm putting it in.
I want a Ponce.
Where is there? It is.
125. That's not bad for prescription.
Yeah.
What, monocle?
Did we all look at the same?
No, Will put it in chat. She's 50 for standard,
Yeah.
125 for prescription, apparently. But I think on that note, we're going to call it, because it's been just over 2 hours. And I think that's been more than enough. This way, if anyone else comes on, I want to watch, like if Monkey decides he wants to stream or something, I can plausibly catch that.
He said
I
he
gotta
hurt
personally back-
himself.
I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, say other people got to go to work and whatnot, like me and Tier and Will and Tragic and Mitch, probably.
Oh, I got out of work.
Oh, you got out of work?
My boss don't want to deal with the snow.
Nice.
So they're going to have to pay you an emergency rate if you got to go in?
Yeah.
Or overtime, technically.
Oh, you're gonna. It's like, if you want me to go in, you're gonna pay for it.
But this was fun. Glad we got to go over some more of what's happened. Hopefully we'll get more releases from ICE and everything about the whole thing of what went down.
And we can doubt everything they say.
Oh yeah, as usual.
Playing my role. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. And I was gonna say,
yeah,
we can
I doubt everything that. Oh, go ahead.
So we can then also have the A Girl Can Dream, that they'll fucking fire Bondi and Patel for being
Yes.
Yeah, I doubt everything they say, but I also doubt everything the critics say.
True.
Especially if
Exactly.
for the critic, we're talking about a claimed observer, protester, provocateur, basically anyone in Minneapolis.
You should always have a healthy amount of skepticism.
Yes.
There's times I even ask for proof to things for I say.
Say, I
Huh?
look both ways before crossing a sidewalk where there is no street.
I mean, never mind. I don't want to go into it. Okay, look. The lies from the Law and Order side, which I guess traditionally we would be on if we were seeing any of that. The lies from that side are just as bad as what they said about Rittenhouse. About how he went out there to shoot black people, murdered 3 black men, and none of that actually
Execution
happened.
style. Yeah.
The still
This
cause.
guy
Stubbed
did-
out 3
I
beautiful black
don't see the
lives.
guy pulling his weapon. I don't see the guy reaching for his weapon. I see an ICE agent pull the weapon off of him. Someone probably yelled gun, and some hyper excited fucking hero, air quote, decided to start shooting.
Well, there was a
Oh.
definite gunshot between
Oh yeah,
the retrieval of the gun and them shooting him.
yes,
Mhm.
And Rotten hit the 3 possibilities for that shot.
right, whatever.
I think I missed that.
But on the other side, we got, the guy's a total fucking saint. He never hurt anybody. He never peed against the wall. We got lies coming at us from every direction. I'm not believing any of them. I'm going to assume, therefore, that everyone's a villain, and it's good that villains take each other out.
No, I was saying my whole thing that always gets me is for the protests that were or the what they were protesting for the one protest that Rittenhouse went to. It's like, okay, you're protesting that a guy got chased by law enforcement and arrested. He wasn't killed. Who was a convicted felon who was being chased because he violated a restraining order, threatened to kill his wife or not his wife, the woman that he had seen, had formerly been
His
seen,
girlfriend,
former
his
girlfriend,
baby mama,
who was also pregnant at the time, and then stole her minivan.
with her kids in there.
I didn't believe the kids were in there from them I know of.
The kids were in
And then
there.
if we're gonna
That's
go
part
off
of
the
the
whole
There
thing,
were
hold
kids
on,
in the
and then if
minivan.
we're gonna go off the whole thing as well, for those protests, there was a fucking curfew in order. So if you're gonna bitch about Kyle being there, you gotta bitch about the fucking protesters being there. If you're gonna be honest, you gotta be honest about fucking everything, not just what you
Yep.
want to be honest about. But on that
Yeah,
note,
yeah, they don't
we're gonna
want
get
to.
out of here before we
Yeah.
just start arguing for. I
Before
shouldn't say
it starts all over.
I think we're all agreeing, though. But
Yeah,
let's
that's why I
get
said
outta here.
not arguing, ranting
I'm with you.
for another 20 minutes. So have a great
Abbreviated.
night. Hopefully you have a good week. Hopefully for those of y'all who are in the wintry areas, you stay warm. Fucking beat that just
yeah.
happened. Sort of high pitched
Huh?
thing.
It was
Might-
me turning on my heater,
Ah,
my
okay.
space heater.
Bye, y'all.
So have
Good
a
night.
good one, folks. Go to the
Night.
theater.
Have a good week. Yeah, definitely go to
Yeah,
the
because next week we're
Yeah.
watching the crap. I can't think of
No.
the actor.
Left behind.
No, I'm not. What?
Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron Left Behind before we watched the Nicolas Cage Left Behind.
Yes, I know.
I couldn't think of Kirk Cameron. So have a good one, folks. We're out of here.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.